What is up, everyone? This is going to be my second tutorial, and I'm really actually proud about this because, like I said, I'm going to try to do 30 days in a row, posting something every day to YouTube. And today we're going to be going over the first tutorial is already up. The second one will be the demo reel that Sony is using on their TVs worldwide. If you go anywhere where Sony's selling TVs and you wait a little bit, you'll see this footage playing. So that'll be the second video that you'll see. And what I'm going to do is work on each individual clip from that video just to show you how I did it. So today we're going to work on one of my favorite places in the world. It's Horshoe Bend in the beautiful Arizona. And if you haven't been, you've got to go. It's absolutely spectacular. It's a little bit of a walk. You walk up this long hill up, and then it'll plateau, and then you're going to walk down this long hill down, and then it just opens up. And as you can see, here's the footage here. It's this gorgeous canyon with a river going around. It's shaped like a horseshoe. It really is a sensational spot. This clip is really cool because the video clip you will see is actually me sitting in a crevice, basically on the edge. If I had moved just a little bit, or if my camera had been hit by a gust of wind, or if I kicked it, it would have gone over the cliff. And I set up my pan tilt slider so I could get movement in this clip. I use a second shooter, Kessler, and the slider I have is the Stealth, which is a great slider. It's not very big. Actually, I've got a bunch of stuff on it. It's about this long, so it's perfect for traveling. And I basically set it up there. Had about 600 pictures for the whole time lapse. You have to be very careful when you're panning to have enough pictures to fill it, or it's going to not be smooth. You're actually going to see a jitter kind of movement. So whenever you're doing movement, this is a kind of a small pan. It's a little bit of a wide pan. I wanted to make sure it was smooth throughout. So this is basically the basic footage of it, without any edits done to it. And as you can see, there's some pretty good movement to it. We've got boats down there and clouds and everything else. And I can't remember if this is like the second or third clip, or maybe the fourth clip, or it might be the fifth clip, who knows, and the the footage that they're using. But as you can see, I'm previewing it in LR time lapse, and keyframes, it says 2, which is about right. There's not much of an exposure change. You can see the purple line is pretty even, consistent. So what I'll do is I'll hit save, and I will drag it into Lightroom so we can work on those individual pictures. I can't tell you though, you have to go to this place. Like, it's one of the most beautiful places. I've been twice. Another piece of footage that I'll work on, when Sony sent me all that equipment 2 months ago, we actually made it back up there. And I have a day to night that I haven't posted anywhere. And it's absolutely spectacular. The only quibble that I have with it, like, I think we had a little bit of clouds, and then the clouds kind of disappeared, but the movement of the sun kind of replaces that, and it's just such a spectacular sunset that it actually works out. I usually like a little bit more movement in my time lapses, but sometimes the weather does not help you in any sense. It didn't help that night. Sometimes you got cloudy days, sometimes you have clear days. Alright, so what I always do is I take them off custom and put it on default settings for the save preset. Same thing for this one. Go. And then I will open it up in develop mode. It's a pretty good looking clip. The colors, I like the colors and everything. The first thing I always do is go ahead and come in and crop it. I want it 16:9, which is aspect ratios for most TVs. And I'm going to drop it down a little bit. As you can see, the previous tutorial I talked about one of my sticklers, one of my pet peeves is having a clean sensor. And sometimes it's nearly impossible to have one. You can get as clean as you want to, but lens dust will get in there or something will get in there, even after you clean it. And it looks like there's a little bit of a, I don't know if that's a hair, but there's a little bit of dust here, and there's a little bit of dust here. Luckily, I'm not really worried about it being that high. I want to have it low anyway, just to show off more of the rock. So it's not going to kill us on that one, but it's always something to be cognizant of and kind of worry about, because it'll get you. Something that I think I forgot to show on the last one is, so the first thing I do is I crop it. The second thing I do is I do the lens profile. This one I shot on the A7rii too, but I was using the Canon 11-24 f4. So I've got to go in here and set this manually, and there it is. The thing that I forgot to show is, well, actually I didn't have to show it because I think we only did one clip. This one we have two clips. So what I will generally do is copy, and then the only thing that I have selected are lens corrections and crop. And I'll hit that copy, and then I will paste. And it does everything for me, which makes things a lot easier. So the first corrections that I would do is color temperature, and just warm it up a little bit, because that rock in real life is about this shade. And then I'll mess with the highlights and see where they are. You crush them a little bit, you can see it brings in more detail in the clouds. You don't want it too bright because your detail's gone. But about right there gives me some pretty good detail. And then, that's what I love about the cameras like the D810 and the A7rii II. They have such wonderful dynamic range that you can bring those shadows. Like, that's as shot, and then you can bring them out. It makes it really, really cool. It makes it the dynamic range really cool in the pictures. So once I do that, I always come over and I hit Option on Mac when it comes to whites. And the cool thing about this is it shows you when it overexposes. So that's definitely, those areas are going to be overexposed, as you can see. So I bring it to where you see a little bit of the dots right there. And that's perfect. Same thing with blacks. Again, like I said in the previous video, I actually kind of like to look, because this would look pretty cool in the picture, but it's too much. So I kind of like doing it myself and being able to see what I'm doing. Clarity, I usually put 25. And vibrance, I usually start at 25. And that looks pretty good. It brings out more color, right? The different separation of the colors in here. Brings out the greens. That looks nice. So I'll probably leave it there. Highlights, I usually start around 22. And then play around with it. As you can see, it's changing. I don't want to blow out the whites of the clouds too much here. So about right there looks nice. And then I'll bring the shadows in a little bit just to make it a little bit more contrast. As you can see, if I push shadows out more, it brings out more of the shadow detail. But I kind of want it, I don't want the shadows too blown, because then the contrast leaves a picture. I still want to have the blacks in there that look really nice. You've got this and all of this, and you still want it to look like there's shadows there. It's just so you can see the detail, which looks cool. So that looks great. And LR Time-Lapse has a little script. So once I'm done with that, I'll just select the second and I'll sync the keyframes. So now the last clip, give it a second to update, will look like the first clip. And because I noticed, let's go back to this. This is a little bit lower than the ending. It's a little bit higher, so the exposure is higher on here. So I'll actually go back and check my whites and might bring them back a little bit. And boom, that looks good. So once I've done that, I will make sure they're both still selected, go back to the library mode, go back to thumbnail, and I will say save to metadata files. Because then I can bring that back into LR Time-Lapse and hit reload, and all the changes that I've made are going to be applied to all the pictures. So that saves a lot of time and makes things a lot easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let it do the visual preview, which is something that you can actually skip, but I actually like seeing a preview, mainly because some things get messed up sometimes. Sometimes the transitions are off, especially if you're doing a day to night. You want to actually see it before you apply it to all the pictures and then have to fix it again and reapply it again. So it's kind of like it checks you to make sure that everything's good and you don't have to do it over and over and over again. So we're going to go ahead and start that. It's 600 pictures, so it's going to take a few minutes. So we're going to take a break and I'll be back when it's done so I can show you the preview. All right, so as you can see, the preview is ready. So let's check it out. And it looks really nice. I like that footage. Visual to flicker, we're not gonna have to do too much because it's pretty flat. So I usually put it around 20, just evens it up a little bit more. Flickering is when you see it going from exposed to not exposed and goes back and forth, and it just causes that like little flickering. And you never want to have that in your time lapses. And this is what this program is really good at getting rid of. So after it goes through and does that, I'm going to have it render it out. And at the end of this video, you will see exactly what it's supposed to look like. I think the next tutorial I'll do will probably be something city. I was in Washington, D.C. recently. Where else was I? New York City. So maybe we'll do like the day to night time lapse, one of those, because those are always interesting to do. So that'll probably be like the next tutorial class that I do, something city, because we've already done 2 nature-y national park things, so we got to mix it up a little bit. And then I've got construction too, which is kind of cool. So the next one will be something different, just so it doesn't get too boring. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.